The name says it all.
Table Talk Show with Nikki G and Juliette.
Nikki G and Juliette.
We'd like to welcome you to our new podcast, which will be airing on YouTube.
Probably every Monday.
Yeah. So we're going to decide what day we're going to air it, but it's going to be on Mondays or Fridays of every week. This show is about professionals in our surrounding areas, international. It could be everywhere. It could be you. You never know.
Yes.
We went through a pandemic. I was still going through a pandemic in other countries, not just in America, but everyone's going through it. So Juliette and I decided that, you know what, we've been creative for the past year and let's say 4 months, 5 months, and everybody is doing something probably at home because you couldn't get outside and you needed to work from home. A lot of people from our jobs work from home. You work from home.
Still working from home. Right,
and I've worked from home myself. I mean, essential workers, some people have to go to work every day, so we decided what better way to bring it across to everyone than to have a podcast called Table Talk, where we can talk about all these things that are happening around us, and we have a lot of friends,
family,
associates,
because we really come a long way since this pandemic. Of course, no one has ever gone through this, not in my time anyway, and it's just a big awakening, if you want to call it that.
Huge awakening.
And people have started to evolve, so to speak. So we're doing things totally different, and so we decided, why not get together and engage all the people, all our friends, all our family, people we don't know, and professionals, entrepreneurs. There's so many entrepreneurs who have come out of this pandemic, and those are some of the people that we want to bring to you. I'm excited about bringing these people to you.
Super excited, yeah.
Because it's been amazing. Even myself, I mean, what were some of the things that happened that you did during the pandemic?
As far as being creative is concerned, I'm a voiceover artist. I'm also a photographer besides my 9 to 5. So I created my website, rejuvenated my website, rebranded myself and all that stuff. And I did a lot of things behind the scenes. I didn't finish it, I didn't launch it completely, and I wanted to launch it, so it gave me the time to launch my brand, let people know, the face behind the voice. I also did another Instagram page. I, just spruce up everything that I had and put out more content out there so people will be able to associate themselves with me, and it just gave me more time to just do a lot of production behind the scenes.
Yeah, and then you also concentrate on yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because that's something that is so important. We had to learn ourselves, and especially if you lived alone. I mean, I have children, so with me, what came out of the pandemic, what the main thing for me was my finances. I was just a mess. And during the pandemic, one thing that I really, really loved about myself, can I say that? I sat down and I did a budget, and I started to really look into what to do and how to save, and I can safely say we're going to talk about that, though. That's definitely going to be one of our topics.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to make sure that we bring someone professional to actually give you guys some of the tools it is to save some money, to get that just in case, the rainy day money. That's it.
And I think, well, no, go ahead.
No. I was just saying it's so important to have that rainy day. So if anything happens to you, like a pandemic, and you lose your job, you need that rainy day money. And it was freaking my mind out because I didn't know what was going to come out of all of this, especially where we're working. You need, your livelihood is important.
Yeah.
And then we also started the podcast. We got together.
And I think that's the best part of it, is the communication with friends and family. People went back to basics, and just, you know, embracing what we have right now. You know, it's like a reset. It's basically a reset. So things that I didn't know, I would call Juliette, how Juliette is speaking about finances. Juliette knows about those things, so I would call her and, you know, we speak about certain things, and if Juliette needed to know something about electronics or how to put something together, whatever the case is, and then Juliette has JW Little Black Dress.
Yeah.
It's so much that you can do. People are like indoors and just eating and stuff like that. I mean, people run track around their house. You do things with the kids.
Yeah.
We did exercise every day, like 6 o'clock. You know, whatever time we were available to do exercise every day
On WhatsApp.
on WhatsApp. Yeah, you know. So it's so amazing, and it's very important with having people that you could communicate with. And I know Instagram and Facebook, people went on Instagram like crazy and doing lives, communicating with friends and stuff like that. And I'm like, look at this. It's like it took something like this for us to go back to the basic communication of calling someone.
Yeah.
Plus, we wouldn't have anyone use FaceTime unless it was someone close,
Yeah.
or something like that. So, you know, all these gadgets that we're using now, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, in a nutshell, is what our show is about. Just bringing to you all the creative factors, all the things that you can do, and all the people that are out there that are actually doing something and not just sitting home eating, putting on weight, and being depressed, you know?
Yeah.
And this is something that people, well, now it's mental health. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole month, I guess the whole year, they've been talking about mental health. So this is the time to reach out to someone and do all these great things that we have, you know, at this point in time.
Yeah, because I can't wait for you guys to even, you know, we've got a chef. We've got someone who actually created their own ice cream. We've got an artist, an actual artist, not a vocal artist, an actual painter, which will probably be in our segment 2, who actually, she paints, but she uses our hair. Can you imagine our own hair in her, on her canvas? It's absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to bring that to you.
Alright, so we do have a special group of people that we interviewed recently. We're going to cut to the clip very soon. But just to introduce them, is the International People's Democratic UHURU Movement in New York. Even though it's based in New York, these people are all over the world.
They're global.
Yeah, they're global. The ones that we spoke to, they live in America. So we were able to get together with them. I think they had so much to offer. So the Tulsa massacre that happened 100 years ago, they're gonna enlighten us, not just on that, but just as Juliette was saying, based on finances, the things that you can do as Black people, as colored people, you know, however you want to say it, whether it be you from the Caribbean or any part of the world that you're listening to this, they're gonna enlighten us about a little bit about Black history, where we came from, our ancestors may have come from, the Tulsa Rising, and the Black Wall Street. They're gonna enlighten us about that as well. The anniversary just passed, which was on June 2nd, June 1st and June 2nd, right? So there was a whole thing about that. I mean, it's so much going on. So we're gonna cut to that clip very soon.
Yeah, I just also want to add that it's so important for us as minorities, as people, to really come together and embrace one another. It's something that we just don't do enough of, and that's another thing that we intend to do. We're trying to show you that there are links, whether you are from any part of the world, whether it's Africa, whether it's the Caribbean, wherever it's Europe, whether you understand, we are one people, and it's so important for us to just band together and become one. And they have a phenomenal way of bringing us together, and not only that, educating us about our own history. So I'm excited, and I can't wait for you to see these clips.
So now we're going to cut to the interview that we're going to show you with the movement, and hope you enjoy. It's very informative.
Welcome to Table Talk with Nikki G and Juliette, where we bring to you highlights of
Entrepreneurs, leaders, organizations, and much more.
a broad spectrum of professionals, including chefs, artists, designers, musicians, and more.
I feel so blessed today. I don't want to live like yesterday. So please don't stop my phone. Today I'm gonna make it right.
Our show is a new brand of talk shows where we educate, bring transparency, and last but not least, fun. Table Talk.
Table Talk.
If I tell you, say I love you, oh. My money, my body, now your own, oh baby.
Get ready for our first show, a roller coaster of emotions, all wrapped into one, Caribbean style.
Table Talk with Nikki G, the voice, and Juliette. This is our first taping of our show. We have some special guests today. The show is going to be fully loaded. We're starting off with the International People's Democratic UHURU Movement, also known as IMPIDM.
We actually have IMPIDM on our show. I'm really excited to have them, and I hope you guys enjoy the conversation that we're going to have with them. It's something that is empowering, and something that I myself, some of the things that come out of their mouth, I tell you, I didn't even know. So let us educate you just a little bit as our first show. Thank you so much.
Hello, hi Christine.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing fine.
I'm excited to be here.
All right, so welcome to Table Talk with Nikki G, the voice, and Juliette. I would like to introduce our guest today, the International People's Democratic UHURU Movement, which is also called IMPIDM. I want to make sure I say that correct.
IMPIDM, yeah.
IMPIDM.
Yeah.
So we have FICE, which is FYC, Christine, Ikimba.
Ikimba.
Ikimba, you see? So I'll tell all your story later. I always want to make sure I get your name right, but it's like I put an IKIM. Okay. So we'd like each one of you to just introduce yourself. And Juliette and I was talking about the names, and we wanted to know, how did you come about with the name? Was it given to you? A name like FYC or FICE is very unique. Empress Livewire is very unique, and Ikimba, that's very unique as well. So we just want you to, Christine, you could start telling us about your name and how it came about.
Okay, so very briefly. So my full name is Christine Suzette Jackson. I'm very proud of that name. My dad gave me that name before I was even born. My mom tells me the story. But Empress Livewire was gifted to me in college by my mentor. I was given the name Livewire because of my high energy. And yeah, that's the short of it. I was always energetic, always high energy, loud, dancing or doing something, to the point where people would come up to me and ask me, like, what was I drinking or what was I on? Because they would want some. So I do drink wine, but I was not drinking at those times where they were like, wait, you're so energetic and like always have like so much energy and you're always happy, you're always laughing or smiling. I want what you're on. Wasn't on anything. I was gifted the name Livewire after I completed entry into an organization, and I'm always with an organization. So it's men and women, and we did community building, and I found my voice. So that was the start of me finding my voice. And then when I was in my late 20s, I added the Empress to it because I felt like it was missing a regal vibe or missing the African vibe, so to speak. So that's how Empress Livewire came about. Shout out to Chosen King. He's the one who's my mentor who gave me that name. So that's the story behind the name.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Ikemba?
Yeah, so my story is quite interesting too. But it's not, yeah, I would say like when I was 18, 19, I came into consciousness. And when I say that, I mean, I became like really aware of my blackness and being African, what that means. And during my journey at that particular time, I was actually adopted the practicing the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. And I was a member of the Nation of Gods and Earths. And so I took on the name Culture Supreme during that time. That was what we considered like our righteous name. And so I was going by culture for a long time. And part of this was influenced by just the belief that African people were taken out of Africa and stripped of our names, of many other things too, but names being one of those things. And so I felt like coming into my blackness and my Africanness, I had to do away with the colonizer's name. And so years later, fast forward, I began to organize with a group of Africans. And one of the things that we wanted to do is also like go back to our traditional African names. And so about 8-9 years ago, I took on the name Ikemba Ojore. My full name is Ikemba Volante Ojore, and Ikemba means strength of the people. Like I just said, because I recently took on the name Volanta because I did my DNA, and it traced it back to the Volanta people of Guinea-Bissau. And so I wanted to take on that just to make that connection to my people in Africa. And that Volanta means those who resist, and the Jore means warrior. And the short of it is I made this name change because I wanted to do away with the colonizer's name, working on getting rid of not getting rid of, but even picking up African language and, anything to resist against colonization. But that's part of it, though.
That's a powerful name.
Okay, you Feist?
Yeah, so I'm going to cut right to the chase and saying that I won't be able to give you a clear-cut answer to what Feist means. So I'll just get that out of the way first. Okay. And secondly, I want to say that, my name, in my community, I grew up in Southside Jamaica, Queens in the mid-90s. And, your parents give you a name, and even it's documented in African culture, you name your children to what you think they should aspire to be or what they should become. And not knowing any of that information, I had a name for myself, besides what my parents gave me when I was out in the streets, learning different things, getting into culture, music, and things of that nature. And I had a name for myself. My name was kind of changed and given to me. And every time when somebody asks me what this Feist means, I mean, it's going to be more about what my name means to you, being that the name I got has been given to me. It's not like I, directly chose it, but from my activity in my community, from my activity in culture, that's what my name became. And people make attachments to it. They have assumptions, and that ambiguity is cool to me, because I think in terms of trying to aspire to what your name is supposed to be or living out your true name akin to our culture, for myself, I'm still growing and learning every single day. And depending upon your engagement with me, Feist is going to mean different things to you. If you say Malcolm X to, an African person with pride, they're going to be really proud of Malcolm X. You say it to some other person, they might not, that name might be a scary name to them. You know what I mean? And, it's a process, just like the work we do in our organization. How we come about naming ourselves, whether we give it to ourselves or someone else does. But I think our life should really speak to our names more than anything. And people would take from it what they will.
Wow. Okay.
Yes,
Mystery.
That is so true because, my name is not as mystique and so elegant like everyone else, but my full name is Nicole Goddard, right? Nobody really knows that unless they're on a certain platform that I have, where I have friends and family. But other than that, I use Nikki G to make it short, so everyone would still know my personal name. Most of my friends will call me Nikki. But now everyone calls me The Voice or Nikki G The Voice because I do voiceovers. So there you go.
We're not even,
I love it.
after all of you guys talking about your names, we're not even going to talk about Juliette. No sense. I was giving Juliette, yes, but the family and close friends know me as Juliette. But I haven't got no stories behind it. It's just like, because I come from England and I have a white person's name. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So let's not go into me.
It's okay. Christine sounds pretty white. Christine Suzette Jackson.
Yeah.
That's a white girl on YouTube as well. On Facebook, like Christine Suzette Jackson, really? But it's okay.
Yeah,
Don't feel bad.
I'm gonna find something more empowering by the end of the show.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the principles. Is it one of the principles of Kwanzaa? Is to you can correct me if I'm wrong, but having the power and the autonomy to name thyself, to name yourself is very powerful. So you can meditate on that. And
well, my middle name is Wendy Ann, so
but I mean,
you're Caribbean.
In terms of empowerment, and the empowerment of a particular name is going to come out of the life that you're living right now.
So true. So tell us more about the movement, the International People's Democratic UHURU Movement, how it came about, how many years you've been in existence and so forth. Anyone could jump in. Should I call a name? Feist.
I wanted to give it to Prez.
Yeah.
But like I've been trained to, we say that we are the International People's Democratic UHURU Movement. We say UHURU because UHURU means freedom in Swahili. It's a welcoming and a greeting that we use amongst our comrades. We say UHURU because we believe that freedom should be in the minds of our people 24/7, 365. UHURU is how we say hello. UHURU is how we say good night, and the rest of it. And we want everyone to be clear that when we talk about democracy, you see that we're the International People's Democratic UHURU Movement. We're talking about self-determination, which is the highest form of democracy, not a particular party, but having the self-determination to control the housing in your community, the healthcare, the education, and the economics in your community. That is real self-determination. That is the highest expression of democracy. And we stand in solidarity with all oppressed people around the world. We're working and organized to fight to defend the democratic rights of African people in the U.S. and also around the world. So that's us in a nutshell. And the other thing that me and my comrades have been, so grateful to go into is into the UHURU Mindset web show that we broadcast on YouTube. We've used it as a medium, a show produced by our president Nikemba and hosted by our comrade Empress Livewire, and with myself as well and comrade Whisper. We represent the Northeast region of the International People's Democratic UHURU Movement because we are international. We do have members in other coasts of this nation. In America, we have formations in South Africa, on the continent, and other places around the world. And we all do the same work in our respective area because we believe that we're fighting one particular struggle. And that's us in a nutshell. My comrades can elaborate some more, but we believe that we use everything we possibly can to complete the Black Power Revolution of the 60s, which spoke to a time when our people were making the positive moves and organizational movements to get power in our own hands to change the dynamic of what our people are suffering, even from still today. And that's our our purpose right here, I could say. And I want to thank y'all for having us. UHURU.
UHURU. And we were founded in MPDM was founded in 1991, so for about 35 years. But I'll let Prez.
I want to add that I came into the movement, if I can, and so as Empress had just stated, the organization was founded in 1991. I moved to New York in 2002, and during this time, this was sort of like in beginning stages of me coming into my consciousness, wanting to understand what it means to be Black and African, not as defined by society, but how we are defined by our history. And so as I'm going through this journey, I began to study Malcolm X. I'm listening to Malcolm X because we understand Malcolm X like the figure and things that you see on TV or, documentary. But I studied Malcolm X, what he actually said, and the things that he was saying about what we have to do as a people to be able to attain power was to get organized, to go into the community, to get control. But he kept talking about organization and unity. So I wanted to find an organization. And around the same time, I was introduced to the Black Panther Party as far as like who they were. And so I was like, hey, I need to find an organization like that, because the Black Panther Party actually picked up, the ideas of Malcolm X and wanted to manifest those ideas. And so I happened to come across the International People's Democratic UHURU Movement in 2005. Listened to what they said, went to a meeting, got to understand the work that they were doing, and said, hey, I want to be a part of this organization. And so that's when I joined in 2005. And then, throughout the years, I would say I wasn't active from that period of time till now, all of the time. But I say like the last 2 years has probably been the most active I've been in the organization. But the last thing I want to say is what I found out from my experience is like sometimes we come into organizations, these voluntary organizations, right? And we may have like ideas of what it's supposed to be like, but actually when you're doing revolutionary work is not what you picture it to be. And so sometimes because of that, we kind of, step back because of our immaturity, not understanding that, we play a vital role in the building of the organization. Like everybody is has to play a part in building what it is that you want in this organization. And so I matured, and I see now clearly like this organization is on the right path to bringing about self-determination for Black people.
Just to piggyback off of what you said, it's the same thing like Juliette and I. We always say that whatever strengths we have, that's what we're bringing to the table, and then you lift each other up gracefully. So I know Juliette had some questions. And
yeah, I wanted to know, like, if I wanted to join your organization, on joining, like, number one, how would I do that? How would I go about that? Because I want everyone to know. And number two, like, what do I get by being a part of that?
That's a great question. So the way you would join is fairly simple. I joined this year. The short of it is you join by going to the website to consolidate your membership. And then you're immediately invited into the Telegram group, invited to our Sunday meetings, and you get to work based on your skills and your talents and what you want to do, what you want to bring to the table. And it's very interesting what Prez brought up. Like, it may not be what we think it is, but we have to be what we ask for. Whatever we think is not there, we have to be a reflection of that. So if I want to see more Black people organizing, more education initiatives, more Black businesses, more businesses that actually care about Black people other than just the bottom line and the dollar, we need to be that. So a lot of people say, well, where is it? Where is it? We are it. We are Malcolm X and we are Marcus Garvey reincarnated. So we have to be it. So that was such a great point. But how you join, the short of it is to get a membership from the website. And then let's say if you join today, you love to speak. Let's say if you love social media, we have a social media committee. We have the UHURU Mindset Committee. We have a phone banking committee. We have the economic development committee. Like we talk, but we have to do the work. And then it's a lot of work to push forward. So all of us have experienced burnout, being tired and just like overcoming contradictions, but we need people to do the work. The work is not going to just get done by the birds. Like I'm not have to be done and pushed by the people. So that was a great point that was mentioned earlier. And you could join again by visiting the website, and then you join our Telegram group and you join our meetings to really fully understand the work that we're pushing forward. And we have so much going on, from town hall meetings to outreach, on the ground outreach every single Saturday, to a UHURU mindset, to building a Kijiji and Sankofa school for our children. So we talk about educating our babies, but what would that be if we're just talking about it, not actually putting out an initiative to educate our babies? Because what is it, Vice? We would be a fool to let the enemy educate our children, right? I hope I'm not answering other questions. I was really excited to answer that one, but that's the short answer.
The long and short.
Yeah.
I want to say that Empress Livewire is our membership coordinator at the moment. And what she spoke about was some real, she spoke the truth about the work and, her role in particular. She's the membership coordinator of our branch in New York City. And like she said, this is a volunteer work, you know what I mean? So we're putting in our time and our energy. When I spoke about us defending our democratic rights, so like, what does that look like? How is that function done inside of our organization? So for instance, one of the major programs we're pushing right now is we're building the Saturday Sankofa School, which is a program that we've done before in Queens, almost 10 years ago, I want to say. But it was a free Saturday school program because the problem was us, our organization, but Black people in general. We have an issue with the school curriculum, how children don't learn about themselves and they don't learn about anybody that looks like them, right?
Yeah.
And so we did a Saturday school program, and we adapted from another organization that was doing some other work in another borough in Brooklyn. And so we started doing a free Saturday school program that we did 3 sessions, 7-week programs, did our own curriculum. And in that program, we taught our children to have pride about themselves. We taught them how to think about these different sciences and technologies and learn that these are things that African people created and furthered even in the present day, not just in the past. One of the first lessons we taught the children, we asked them what they thought about Africa. And all they would say is that Africa's poor, it's dirty, and all these negative things that they thought about Africa, which is a wonder why nobody wants to be called African, right? But by the end of our program, these children were all proud to be African. They knew about historical figures like Fannie Lou Hamer, Marcus Garvey. They were proud to be Black. They were proud to be African people, and we would ask the children what they wanted to do, when they came to the program sometimes. And one of them said, I want to go out to the community and march and tell everybody they should be inside the Saturday Sankofa School, because he felt so proud to know about himself, And this is very important for young African children, something where it's not just a matter of pride, but we're learning about community responsibility, because we use different principles from the Guza Sabo for each different session. And so that we're a revolutionary organization, right? And there's cultural aspects to, African culture, but we use everything to fortify the idea where even our young children as young as 4 and 5 can learn what it is to have community responsibility and play a role in the betterment of our people as opposed to the destruction of our people. And that was something we did in terms of education, and we're bringing that back now in present day. This year, we're going to be doing that program once again, where the community plays a hand in getting that program going. We get donations to help with the food and all those different things. So that's just one of our programs, and we're working on other programs that, President Ikemba has brought, like the food, clothes, and shelter program that we started doing just recently. And there's many different programs that we're doing just on our front in New York City. And I want to remind everyone again, we're an international organization. So we're doing the same programs many different places, and there's more programs that exist that we're still working to bring here to New York City. And I just encourage everyone to go to npdom.org, go to our website, check out the membership, check out the About Me. You can check out our struggles. We also have a journal of note, which is the Burning Spear newspaper, because we're part of the movement. We say UHURU Movement at the end of our acronym there, right? And the UHURU Movement is an organization of many different organizations founded by our chairman, Amali Yeshatella, who founded the African People's Socialist Party, our international organization, NPDOM. is led by President Columbayi Antoinette in St. Louis, Missouri, who came into this work in the fierce struggle around the murder of Mike Brown. And that's what happens. A lot of times our people have pain that they experience, and that's what pushes them into organization, unfortunately. But we want to let our people know we don't have to wait for a dramatic personal experience or some pain to come to us to realize that we need to take a part in our own self-governance and coming into organization. Like,
if I can add real briefly, I just want to answer like what people will get out of joining the organization. We're organizing to be self-determined people. We want to be in control of our institutions. So people who have some sort of skill set, a doctor or whatever, a teacher, whatever it is that you do, own a business, those are things that you can bring to this movement. And we want to be able to create a space where they no longer are, have to be under the rules or the laws of a country that doesn't respect them or represent them. And so we want and within this organization, we want to create a means for our people to be able to do the things that they do freely under their own power. And so that's what this organization is about. So that's something that they will get, and they can be a part of this process of creating that space where they can have that liberty and freedom in this organization.
But it does sound like an organization that I think that all of us, like as Black people, we need to, it's time for us all to band together and to actually hear that this movement is about, because I didn't know anything about it before now. I'm definitely going to do some more research, and I'm definitely going to bring it to our viewers so that they too can, tap in, because this is something that is so important. Our people, we as people, we really need to bond together, and it's about time. It's about time. Everyone else has their own, their own little village. You have the Chinese people, they're together. The Jews are together. It's about time that we just bonded together just on the color of our skin, not where we come from. It's so important. And so I'm definitely going to keep on plugging your this whole thing, because it's time for our people to just band together. So thank you guys so much for all of this.
Oh, thank you. And it's all of our organization. Even you're not an official member yet, but it's your organization too. It's for the people, it's for the community. So I trust that you'll grab a membership on the website, but even if you're not an official member yet, it's for the entire African working class community. We do the work for everybody.
Juliette, I wanted to say too that what we want our people to understand is that despite what we've been taught, we do come from the same place. Many times the difference between our peoples are just a boat stop. Because what has made the white world so wealthy has been our disbursement, our division. A lot of our terminology for where we come from, like say if you come from the west coast of Africa, that's what I wanted to get into, because we have been dispersed, we have been divided, even though we came from the same place, and that's an understanding, which our theory in our organization is African internationalism. You have like theories like Pan-Africanism, we have communism, you have many different types of isms, theories, because we understand clearly that any kind of organization, you must have a theory and that you use and put into practice. If you don't have any kind of theory, then what are you really practicing, right? But pretty much, we understand that we're part of a dispersed nation. We're one African people, but we didn't disperse for the purposes of European colonialism and U.S. imperialism. We've been split around the world because, the Europeans have established relationships with us that are economic. So wherever they took us from to interject us into the Atlantic slave trade system, that was the name they got for us. So when they came and got us from the west coast of Africa, they called it the Gold Coast. When they came and got resources out of Africa for, Ivory Keys and many other different things, they got the Ivory Coast. When the Portuguese colonized part of Africa, they called it Cameroon, which is just the name for shrimp in Portuguese. So you have African people calling themselves Cameroonians. These are the identities that we've been given because of this relationship. That's colonial, that's parasitic in nature, that is, sucks life from us every single day as we go out here and we work and do the best we can to take care of ourselves and our families. There's always situations when it comes to travel, immigration, the institutions, again, that we find ourselves on the outside looking in, where we don't have power to control these different things. So we're saying that we're one African people. We're saying that we've been dispersed as a nation, and what we're doing is to unify the African nation once again. Like any other nationality people, you have to recognize your own self-interests before you can organize to change the conditions that you're facing every single day. So I just wanted to say that I unite with you, Juliette. We've been dispersed, but we're one Africa, one nation, and that's a chant that we use, one Africa, one nation. So just wanted to say that real quick.
And
yeah,
thank you.
I guess that also comes with education, because I know when I came over to America back in the 80s, I went to one of the worst schools, and it was really bad. And one thing I noticed when I walked through the door was everybody was in their own clique. And I didn't understand it. Like, I just figured a friend is a friend. But you had the Puerto Ricans on one side, you had the Americans on another side. Then they broke it down further. Then you had the West Indians, but the West Indians made it even worse. You had the Jamaicans on one side, the Trinis on another, the Guyanese. And I was like, I was the only one. No, I didn't have a clique because there wasn't enough English people, right? So I said, well, then I need to embrace something. So I went back to, my parents are Jamaican. So I was like, okay, I'll chill out with the Jamaicans. But I couldn't understand it. It was like, why is there so many groups?
We really take pride in our tribe. There's a lot of tribalism. We really take pride in the smaller tribes. We take pride in that. We do.
So needless to say, I was very popular in high school because I could go into every clique.
But at the same time, that we can all come attest that when African people anywhere in the world are under attack, we always come out and support each other.
Yeah.
In terms of crisis and things are going really bad, like I remember coming up, one of the things that was terrible to me was the catastrophe in Haiti where they had the mudslides and all these things. And like my parents, they came from the Caribbean, right? And they watched like a Caribbean news channel, and it showed African people from Jamaica, from Cuba, from all these different places getting barrels together to send to Haiti. Even just recently when St. Vincent experienced their catastrophe, we've seen African people, so we know who we are, but it's a constant colonialism division that separates us, that have us in these little cliques. Like Julia says, when we're all facing the same colonial domination, we all get together, we're invincible, and that's something that we understand in our organization, where we don't feel like we're in our little clique, and it's a theory again in a practice that we take out to the world and show we are the same people. And I know you left London, you said at a particular time, Juliette, but when I first came into the organization in 2006, they were struggling around a young African by the name of Mark Duggan, who was murdered, and I think in London and whatnot. I can't remember all the cases, but then there was Ori Jallo in Germany, who was tied to a bed and burnt in a German prison. Just like you see the attacks happen to African people here in America, the same things are happening to African people around the world, and we should understand that we're facing the same colonial domination. And again, we can have one large clique, one large powerful clique where we travel anywhere in the world, and we can always point to our clique like, yeah, Mother Africa, we got Mother Africa right here. So I don't know if y'all want to do that. You know what I mean? I know we're a billion strong, and we should know that, and we should take that into every conversation when we're talking with each other. We should take that with us everywhere to give our people that, confidence in ourselves,
Because Juliette and I was talking about that last night. Where everyone came from and where we landed, who went to Jamaica, who went to Trinidad, and so forth. So President Biden went down to Tulsa, and he went down because of the 100th anniversary in Tulsa race massacre. This conversation
that we're having right now, we wanted to center it around that to get, how it started, the history of it, how it started, and what are people doing today? What are your thoughts about it, and so forth? Welcome back to Table Talk. I need the website for the people that we spoke about.
Impedum.org, or you can get them on Instagram, impedum_NYC. And then we'll also have all their details, their telephone numbers, etc. in the description below. We would like to thank Impedum, our UHURU family movement.
We're getting used to the language, and we just learned, that particular language.
UHURU stands for freedom, right?
Now you're back to Table Talk with Juliette and Nicole, or Nicole and Juliette. However you all right, so coming back from, everything that happened throughout the year, we went through a pandemic, of course. They have other countries, other cities still going through it. But New York, New Jersey, and certain tri-state areas, they've brought us back to like semi 100%, or I should say like 75%. New Jersey was one of them that you could go to the movie theaters, but they had to do the 6 feet. We also
still wearing our masks.
Yeah, we're still wearing our masks. For restaurants, we had mostly outdoor. Jersey had, we had indoor as well, but you had to do your safety precautions and all that. The malls were open, but it took some time for Jersey to open back up. It's like, I think New York had opened a little bit first.
Yeah.
And then New Jersey, after a while, he was like, if our cases are still up, then nothing's gonna open. We were working from home, go into work probably like once for the week, and then they increased it and stuff like that. So Juliette, have you been out, like June the 1st just recently passed? I mean, we're still in June. What have you seen that's different that happened like last month compared to now? Like, have you gone out? Have you done anything?
I would say I feel a little bit more secure in going out. Now before, obviously the only place I'd go to, guys, was pretty much the supermarket, and that was only because it was necessary. Now I feel a lot free, especially now that the vaccine is out and people are starting to take the vaccine and the numbers are now dropping. So that is a big sigh of relief. And I think it's a relief for you see it. People are now starting to go out to restaurants, and that's something that I've now added. I will now go to the restaurants and I'll feel secure, relatively secure, because the restaurants have found a way to still keep us kind of separate, even though we're in close quarters. A lot of them are on the outsides in New York, which is really, really, we feel safe. And so I don't mind going out there. But to say that I'm going to just go free and take off a mask just because everybody says it's free, that's not what I'm going to do. Not right away. Yeah. It's going to take some time until someone actually says that, you know what, COVID is a thing of the past. But we are realizing that this is a new way. This is a new way of living, and we are no longer going to live the way we lived before. Did you know that there's been over 210,000 people who have left New York City during the pandemic, and that was from last year till now? Yeah. It's crazy, the movement that is going on, the way we're shifting our families, and people are now, all those people in smaller spaces have realized it's no fun to be cooped up in this. It's good to be in the middle of the city. Yeah. But now I'm in the middle of the city, but I can't go outside.
And the thing about it too is, it's expensive to live in the city, number one. It's expensive to live in New York. Prices have gone up on food products. Prices has gone up on gas. I mean, gas has been pretty reasonable, but prices has gone up a lot. So people are basically trying to economize on everything, including rent. I know some people sold their house, people who had cars or deaths in the family, selling their cars. And then other people are being more innovative in the sense that they're buying cars and then leasing them to other people on certain apps.
and making income that way, you know. So people are being like very, very resourceful. Since I'm a photographer, I have to go out there and do certain coverages, but I mean, I thank God at least that people are still being safe in the sense that they'll let me know if they had COVID or not, if anyone in the family had COVID or not, and then they're still wearing their masks. But I think since June 1st, people are a little more relaxed, because before you weren't seeing people outside the way that you see them now. And I think families are getting closer together in the sense that they are having a lot of family outings. But it's mostly family. Yeah. And then close friends. Yeah. Like I know my friends, I mean, including yourself, we tend to get together because we know each other, and, you know, who got tested or vaccinated or whatever the case may be. It's like we tend to talk to each other, so we know the safety precautions that we have to take, and we're not gonna like jeopardize each other's health and, you know, and well-being.
So, you know, all in all, I mean, things are starting to try to get back to normal, and that's a good thing, because I know that, you know, people who live alone, I think those were the people who really suffered a lot. Being by yourself and in the house where you actually have no conversation but yourself, I think that's when you really see it, especially when the elderly, guys, they really needed us to step it up and call. I started to call a lot of my friends, the older ones and stuff, just to say hi. Just to, you know, because it gets lonely for them anyway. And, you know, early risers as well, because they get up really early.
Oh gosh, they do.
So, you know, just checking in on them to see, did you eat? Did you get groceries? Let me help you. Those kind of things. People have been super, super, super to each other. We realized that we're in this together. It wasn't just one particular group or one particular area. It was worldwide.
Yeah. And I like what jobs are doing now. Jobs are making it convenient for you to, well, in my company, what they've been doing, they do a lot of Zoom meetings. Yeah. So we do a lot of Zoom meetings in order to talk to each other daily. Before we had meetings, but then my manager said that he knows a lot of people was complaining of being depressed and being in the house 24/7. Yeah, you want to work from home, but you're still not used to that. So we did Zoom meetings, and then on Fridays we'll just have a time where it's just for us to talk, just to be able to talk to, you know, see a face, not just hear a voice, because you could do it over the phone. But just remember, mental health is very important.
Very important.
Taking care of your physical health is very important. You know, some people don't want to wear the mask, but it helps protect you and the other person. No matter what scenario people might probably throw out there to say, well, this is not real or unreal or whatever. And we're not projecting, or we're not trying to project our ideations on you, but we're just saying sometimes it's better to be safe than sorry, you know? So to wrap it up, we want to thank you so much for being a part of Table Talk, our first session.
Yay!
And we gotta thank the UHURU Movement for being a part of our segment. So you can find us on YouTube and Instagram, tabletalk_NJ. And once you put in Table Talk, you should be able to find us. You know, just put in Nikki G and Juliette, which is very rare. You're not gonna find another Nikki G and Juliette like us. And you know, of course, I'm a voiceover artist. You can find me on SoundCloud at Nikki G the Voice, also on Instagram. And Juliette,
you can contact us via email at tabletalkshow.nj@gmail.com. Woo, that was a mouthful. And just in case you missed that, it will be in the description box below. So please look us up, send us an email, tell us topics that you want to talk about. I mean, we've got some juicy stuff coming up, but we do want to speak about stuff you want us to talk about. Would be great. All right, guys. Oh my God, thank you so much for doing this with us and staying this long. But we'll see you soon.
Ladies and
The name says it all.
Table Talk Show with Nikki G and Juliette.
Nikki G and Juliette.